the way we're going to do that is I'm going to go through kind of the phases and ask Tim some questions and have him react to those. Tim was intimately involved with sort of all the aspects of these hacks and the response, so he's the best person to talk about this. So I'll turn it over to you, Tim. What were the initial reactions, or talk about these, the hacks and what actually happened?
Okay, yeah. Why don't I start off by giving just a little bit of background? I've picked a couple of different incidents that I think will be good representative case studies. One of them is a pretty small company. They've got about 20 employees, but only 6 or 7 of them actually work on the computers. This company used QuickBooks and for processing payments to vendors and customers, just running their business in general. And they woke up one day and they had an alert from QuickBooks from the fraud department. They thought they detected fraud, and they had. Someone had hacked into QuickBooks and attempted to send the ACH out for one vendor that they really owed the money to, but they had changed the bank account information on that and attempted to send the money out. And so $30,000 was about to go out the door. So of course they kind of panicked and started jumping all over it, and they went in and turned off all the ACH, and that reaction, of course, created a lot of problems for them. They had to, because it wasn't safe. But they had to figure out how to get people paid on their payroll, and it just disrupted the relationships with the vendors, and they didn't know what happened. And it turns out that someone had hacked into their email and used that to get in to learn that they had QuickBooks, and to change the password in QuickBooks, and then delete the emails that's used to control that process inside of QuickBooks, so nobody knew it happened. They felt good. They thought that they had stopped the problem. They got it changed back. They changed their passwords, and things seemed to settle down. About a month later, it happened again, and so they really started to panic more about how is this continuing to happen. And that's when they had stopped and asked CIS for help. We were referred in by their insurance agent. Another example that we're going to use today was a larger company. They've got somewhere in about the mid 50s as far as people that actually work on the computers all day long. And one day the accounting controller received an email from a vendor stating that an email they'd received from their system saying that there's a remittance advice for an ACH payment, and the vendor said they not only never received the cash, but the invoice that was on the remittance advice really wasn't from them. It was something wrong. And of course that set off alarm bells. And so the response inside of there was they immediately stopped the ACH, which there were thousands of ACH payments made in a month. And so it caused a major disruption of service to the vendors. The entire process of how to make payments changed. They had to go back to paper checks. They had to get the checks. They had to communicate to all the vendors, train the employees on how to spot the things that were wrong. It's a massive undertaking, and it was all just one day. Here you go. It's right in front of them. So of course they did an investigation, and they found a pattern. And we actually had helped them with that, but they found a pattern where they discovered over $500,000 had been spent going to bank accounts that were the wrong bank accounts. It was very expensive to perform the full investigation. The Secret Service got involved. That's what the arm of the federal government that deals with that type of crime. And over time, we determined that someone had penetrated the system in many ways. And we could tell they'd been in the system for a good 18 months. They get into multiple people's email accounts, learn their internal network passwords because they were putting them in emails. And someone had logged in the system for a long time and learned their company. During that process, the insurance company sent out their experts who tried to scan and monitor the system, and they came back and gave them a clean bill of health going forward. But months later, the attempted attack started all over again. they caught most of them, a couple of them got through, and that's when they asked CIS for help. So is that what you're looking for, Brian?
Yeah, no, I think that that's a good story to start with. So we know how things happened, I guess, in general, but like when you were first approached, what was just talk about the CEOs and your conversations with them. I mean, were they reluctant? Were they astonished? Were they angry?
The first one in the small company, it had been going on for a couple of months, and he thought he had killed it, and it flared back up again. He was close to being in a panic mode, but he was just very concerned. He felt helpless. He tried to do everything he could to kick the people out, and they just kept getting back in. So he was concerned that he couldn't reliably run his company, and he just wanted help. The larger company, it was a much more detailed conversation. We had actually been working with that company on a different project that was unrelated to cybersecurity. So we knew a lot about their environment. We're implementing ERP systems for them. And he just came to me and said, everybody says it's okay when it's not. This cost me a lot of money. I need to believe that we have our controls in place. What do I do? He was just at his wit's end. And I don't know about you, but $500,000 going out the door, that's a big number. That's going to get, I don't know how big the company is, that's going to get somebody's attention. And so they were really, I don't want to say desperate, but it was taking their focus away from running their company because they were being attacked.
Yeah, no. And even the $30,000, though it didn't go out, that's a lot for a small business as well, right?
Well, I certainly don't want to lose 30,000. If you don't think it's much, you just write me a check. I'll take it.